All right, what is going on, guys? It is Monday night, and it is time for another episode of Recovery Revolution Live. I'm your host, Brett, and I am so excited about tonight's guest. I had her on my podcast a while back, and we've stayed in contact for a while. We've done a few little side projects together, and she's absolutely incredible. But before we get to the guest, I want to let you guys know, and I've seen that a bunch of people have subscribed to the Recovery Revolution Live audio feed, the podcast version of the live stream. So thank you to everyone that's done that. And if you haven't already, go ahead and do that. So if we have another social media blackout, you can still get some great recovery content. Also, if you're looking for another smaller little bite-sized piece of recovery, I also do another podcast every Wednesday called Recovery Survey. This upcoming week is going to be Janine, who was on the pod, was on this channel a couple weeks back. So we're going to have her on Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, please be sure to check that out. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce tonight's guest, Leanne Villani. Welcome to the show, Leanne.
What's up, dude? So blessed that you invited me to be here again. Honestly, being straight up, I just want to invite God into this because before this, I was doing some recovery work. So, sometimes you don't want to show up, but, somebody needs a message. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on. I know we've both had kind of crazy days, and you rolled up a couple minutes before the stream started, and I was stuck at work for a while, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it home in time. And man, life is crazy and chaotic, but we made it and we showed up.
Amen to that. I mean, it just, right? It works out when we just kind of show up and let God do the rest.
Absolutely. Well, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you could just kind of jump in and let the audience know like what your recovery journey looks like. Like take us back to the using days. Like what did Leanne's life look like?
Unmanageable. So yeah, last time we talked when I probably had like 4 months of sobriety. Now my sober date's August 13th, 2020. Um, it's like just like every other story that we read in the book. Um, Anything I have, I can't have one. I just want more. And it was the insecurity. So, I started drinking when I was like 14 years old, 15 years old, in at my first party in ninth grade, and I loved it. It was like getting outside of myself, just like everything else. The uncomfortability of being in your skin. And right when I took that first drink, it was the best. And that's what I chased for. And what it looked like was just somebody that was trying to find their identity, and then the drink became a part of my identity. So that progressed, and I remember when the Sweet 16 days came in, and I would get my first like personal bottles, and my brother is older than me, and he would always get me Bacardi Raspberry, and I would be like, yes. And I remember looking in my closet and collecting bottles like literally, like that was my goal, was to collect Bacardi bottles, and I was like a closet drinker, but 16 years old. And what happened was, I was that crier. I drank to cry, I drank to feel, I drank to have emotions. I was only like 15 years old, and I think that it's just crazy when I think about it. And I sit in this chair in my room, which the lighting's kind of not good right now, but I think of it, and just celebrating my year, thinking of that person that was struggling, was I had to drink to feel, to live, to be myself. And anybody that's watching this, could totally say, well, I drank to, finally identify an emotion that I've been hoarding away for years on end. And I drank to cry, and that's when I would pick up the phone and call people and tell them how I really feel. But that progressed, and it progressed, right? They say that the disease of more progresses. And so that was just the start, dude. And what happened was, I went away to college. I went to Fredonia up by Buffalo. I was a softball player, played every single sport, was getting colleges looking at me left and right. It looked good on paper. I was like that kid that was doing everything right, but I never felt right within me. So, it was like a good facade, a good front. Then I
Mhm.
went to Oneonta, Stonianta. If anybody knows who's watching, is from New York. It's a SUNY school. And I was getting straight A's, going to school to be a teacher. And I started to drink every day like it was happy hour. So, but I was still getting my A's, still rewarding myself with, I would go to the library. I was Miss V in the classroom, in the teacher, being a teacher, working with senators for education, designing curriculums, and at nighttime I was going out and fighting people, literally fighting people, because that's what my disease would do. I'm ego driven. It was just a manageable. It was just a mess, and I came to my knees and I surrendered. I kept surrendering. My dad 12-stepped me, and I still didn't get it at 21. And what happened was, I couldn't take it anymore. Things started to. It wasn't fun anymore. When I graduated in 2019, I walked across the stage, and then I was living every day like it was happy hour. And I couldn't take it anymore because I knew that God had a greater plan. I was spiritually bankrupt, but I had God in my life and was never mad at him. I just didn't understand what was wrong with me, but I realized that it's a phenomenon of craving. And today, like, I just want to. My goal right now is just to impact one person, whoever's watching, to realize it doesn't matter. This disease doesn't matter what age, sex, gender, who you like, who you love. It's genetically, and we have to accept that. So today, I could say that I accept that. I'm an alcoholic, and that I'm grateful to say that I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic.
And I love that point that you touched on there about the disease of more, because I don't think I got that early on in my recovery journey, because I came in with the idea of like it's this certain drug that I have a problem with. Like if I could just put the pipe down, like I'll be good. And I didn't see that full picture of the disease of more, and here I am, oh man, almost 7 years later, and I can see the disease of more like showing up in other areas of my life. And
Everything.
yeah, for sure. And that's a lot of that's come with doing some work, getting a sponsor and like actually digging in and like finding those patterns and seeing the different things that are going on in my life. But I didn't realize that I had that just like need for whatever it is to fill that void. Like I can't stop. I I mean, even like this past week, my wife and daughter were out of town, and I had to stop and get some dog food, and so I got a bag of dog food, and I bought a 1 pound bag of gummy lifesavers, and I ate almost the entire
Entire bag.
bag in one sitting. And then the only reason I stopped was because I started to feel sick. Like I ate
Mm.
so many lifesavers that I felt sick, and I put the bag down. And my wife came home and she's like, "Can I have some of those?" And I handed her the bag and it was like almost
Oh,
empty.
yeah.
But
But that's just
that's
a
the
pure
insanity.
example. Yeah, the insanity that, like, if it's not one thing, it's the other. And today we're able to see that. Oh, like, we can indulge in anything, if it's Netflix, if it's food, if it's, the gym, whatever, sex, drug, everything is more and more and more and more. And my goal in life, dude, is just to realize, that being young and sober is not luck. It just comes with, like, how do I want to keep living my life? Like it says, like, my big identifier page in the big book is more about alcoholism. It's page 31, and it gives us 17 different ways that we tried to drink. So it said, we tried to drink, not in the morning. We not in the morning, not during business hours, not at work. All these things. And, oh, we tried to do sanitariums, go to the gym, eat healthy, all this stuff. And it's like, I was like, check, 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 me. And my second sponsor literally said, every single thing that you identify with this book, whatever it is, like, literally underline it and write me. And that was the day that I was able
Mm,
to identify with this book. And to this day, I'm going through the book again, and with a new sponsor. And today I also learned that we have choices. So when we get sober, we have a choice to say, no, I don't want this, or I don't have to get stuck. But where I'm going with this is, like, if I ever get that thought in my head, I just open up my big book with me and I say, like, this is where I identify, because I have to see, it's that, like, the devil and the angel will creep on your shoulder. And I have to know, I have to look at where my feet are planted. And that requires my willingness, but also, what does it look like behind closed doors to keep this thing of sobriety? Like, it's a difference between not drinking, but you could be dry, or you could not have the right thinking, right? Your thinking is
mhm.
thinking. So that requires a whole other level of life. It's different because you're just putting a drink down, but it's how we live, right?
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about just the whole recovery journey is like all these different perspective changes that we get along the way. Because we or I'm not going to say we. I can only speak from my own personal experience, but my experience has been, I came into the rooms and I thought that I had all the answers. I thought I knew everything. I thought my way was the right way, which is absolutely ridiculous if you look at the condition that my life was in when I showed up. But I still had like that egotistical mindset of like my way is the right way if everybody would just act how I think they should act, like the world would be a better place.
Better
And that's,
place.
yeah, and that's not realistic. That's insanity. If everybody acted like me, the world would be a terrible
Shit.
place.
Yeah.
It would be terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, for sure. So that's, yeah. So yeah, like you said, just, there's all these different perspective shifts, as we go down this journey, as we go down this path of recovery, and that's one of the things that encourages me, because in the beginning I had that mindset of like, man, this is going to be so boring. Like I'm
Right.
going to do the 12 steps, and then what? Do I graduate? Am I done? And it's just that's what, to me, that's what keeps it exciting, is like it's always changing. There's always new things that are being revealed. Like I'm learning more about myself. I'm seeing my patterns. I'm getting new perspectives on life. Like my life, as I've stayed in the rooms and I've stayed in the process, like my life has steadily gotten better. It was never there was never like that one moment where just like all of a sudden everything happened. It's just like a slow progression of my life getting better, my living situation getting better, my work situation gets better, like everything, my spiritual my whole spirituality, like that's totally changed from the beginning. Like everything is just like progressing slowly, and who knows, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who knows what my life is going to look like. And that's exciting and terrifying, and yeah, I can't wait to see what happens.
It's crazy you say that because, like, me, I was like, my podcast got two nominations this year, and I realized, like, I don't, there's more to me. Like, my audience is not, like, I think when we come in here, for me, I was grinding really hard on my career when I graduated. It wasn't for teaching. I said, I wrote a book in 24 hours when I was 21. I did all these things that were just accomplishments, but I wasn't happy within myself. And like this past time, like the past couple of months, I just kind of stopped podcasting and I started to just regather who I am. Like you said, these spiritual awakenings and these aha. And after I got those like two nominations, and it was like it didn't mean shit to me. I didn't even care about it anymore. It's literally on my like vision board behind me. And I was like, it's still not bringing me happiness. And I realized all this time, I was, on stages with Grant Cardone. I was with Brian Tracy, all these big people that I've, since I started this journey of like really going to be like a millionaire. That's been my goal, right? It's not buying me happiness. It's not buying me spirituality. I was putting things in front of my recovery. And I realized that, how you have to do inventory, like stock inventory, like they talk about
Hmm.
in your fourth step. I had to do inventory with my show because my show was about Beautiful Mind, and God's calling me to other things. And I think that when we grow, so we grow, we change, we evolve, we die off. We grow, we change, we evolve, we die off. Right? When we put our head on that pillow, we're dying off and we're waking up as a new person. And I think it's really vital and pivotal, like that we need to hear the whisper of God. Like I say that God, for me, I call my power God. You call yours higher power, but I could say that it's not just us. Couldn't do that. I'm not sober by Leanne's will, but where I'm going with this is like all the other bullshit doesn't matter. Your accomplishments don't matter. What matters is are you are do you can you sit in this chair and have serenity within yourself? Can you do stock inventory and look at yourself and say like what I did, yes. What are the great things? What are the assets? But what are things that no longer fit me anymore? Like what aren't a
Hmm.
part of my identity? And I've been going through that a lot lately. I've been just really writing. Cause I had a hard time in sobriety when I first started. Like I couldn't write anymore for some reason. Cause I used to have to drink to write, to speak. But I think all the things that I thought mattered don't matter anymore. And I think that that's the gift of sobriety. Like when they say like your is beyond your wildest dreams. I think it's because now the wildest dreams, it's your soul's coming back alive. Like you're reliving, you're reborn, soulfully, and that's my experience so far.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a line in the NA book, and it says, "Lost dreams are reawakened." And I think that that's another piece, like you're talking about, like
Mm,
things that we may not even remember that we wanted to do or accomplish, or we might not have even had that dream, but today, because of recovery, like we're able to fulfill those things. We're able to do things that we never thought were possible. And I would love to hear, because we've, like I said at the beginning, we've stayed in touch, but I feel like we've kind of drifted apart. Oh,
mm.
just in the last 6-8 months, and I didn't even know until we started talking about doing this live stream that you had
Yeah.
stopped doing the podcast. And I'd love to just
Yeah.
hear like what's going on in your life right now. Like what was the moment that you decided that you were going to stop doing that? Did you have like a spiritual awakening? What's going on in
Yeah.
your life?
Yeah, so I went back to teaching because I realized that kids, I love, so for the past during COVID, I really went all in on marketing, studying business articles from Harvard, studying how this system works and how to run a successful business online. Like I know every single avenue of how to do this, how to get leads, capture them, right, all this stuff that I studied. I have 4,000, like 950 pieces of articles that I'm studying. I didn't even realize it, and I just sat down. Like those, those people that sit down in the books and they have to study, and research business. I realized I knew a lot more than I thought everybody knew what I knew on social influence, and I started to share it with people, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "You don't know about this?" And all this time, I started to gather my information, and I started a couple of businesses. So I was getting involved with really big things, like really big things that it wasn't, I was losing myself. I created massive amounts of content during COVID. My GoPro got stolen out of my car, my microphone, my podcast microphone, my MacBook, not my MacBook, my iPad, all my stuff that I created things on, lost my hard drive with all my stuff in it. Um,
Mhm.
and, and what happened was, I realized a lot of fear was building up. I had a thing where I was helping people create social media like strategy, like really high end strategy, and it still wasn't fitting me. So then I just started going back into the classroom. I'm retaking my teaching tests, and I want to teach the kids. I really want to start this new foundation called the Future V Foundation, and it's going to be pouring into the children influencers that are all around the world, because these kids want to be a TikTok famous person. They want to be persons that, like, literally my first question I got when I was in the classroom was, Miss V, because they all know, having a podcast, I am a successful person in general, just from my influence when I started at 21, 22,000 people were listening to my podcast. I didn't even realize how many people I was influencing, 5-star ratings. I had 8 seasons. I didn't even know. I couldn't even see the worth. I'm like, you're listening to me, and I still can't believe that I did that, but I started then the disruptive influencer, but it was ego driven. So now
Mm.
I'm starting this new thing. It's called the New World Changer. And the kids designed it in the school. And they made my TikTok called It's Miss V, the Future Teach. And the kids need me. Honestly, I hate adults. I don't want their money. I want the kids' money, because the kids are what's going to like the floodgates are going to be open for the future. And I know something that, I could write all my books. I can, but I want to teach this to the world. The interests that are in this classrooms, that now that I'm an influencer in these classrooms, just being an educator, I know something that God's telling me, Leanne, you can't hold on anymore. I need to give it to the kids, but I have to do it in a smart way. So that's really where I've been going, just listening to God. But it's been hard because a lot of fear, like my audience. But I know that, God's plan, and it's not like it's over. I was telling myself, oh, my dream's over. It's like it's just getting started. All of that of what I created was driven on alcohol, drugs, this and it was still amazing though, and it was me being sober, but I think I outgrew Beautiful Mind, and it's such a great show in general. But there's more to me, and it's scary. It's very scary. But this is my first podcast since I stopped, and I didn't want to come, but I know that it's a new way of life, and I'm excited to walk on it fully. I'm just getting started.
That's incredible, and thank you for this being your first appearance since you stopped doing your show. I had no idea, and
Hmm.
wow, you talked about all your gear getting stolen out of your car, and I can't even imagine like if somebody stole all my
Yeah,
podcast gear, I'd probably just I don't know,
dude.
I'd be in like this deep depression of like I'm just gonna quit for a
Yeah,
little
it was
while. Like
horrible.
man, I can't
Yeah,
even
no,
imagine.
dude, it was horrible because you know what? The person that stole it obviously was because of drugs, and I had to say, this is a sick person. How can I be helpful? And I had to
Mm,
do really hardcore. I can't even drive past the gas station where they took it out of my car. Like they literally took everything, and I was like, okay, I think that materialistic things were getting in the way for me. I was really honing in on the fact, like I had everything literally set up. Finally, I started with Xbox headphones, literally Xbox headphones, and I finally had a station where I was sitting down and I had stuff, and God was like, Leanne, you really think that this is what's going to make you an influencer by having everything? And so, I had to really just look at life and say, you know what, God, this is God's plan, not mine. It's just the gift of now sobriety. Like, I feel as though that I could hold on to my creation. I could say that's a hell of a job, which it really was. It's all about mindset, but I think I need to let go of my inventory. I have to let go of my past because Beautiful Mind is holding on to who I used to be, and I'm just getting started. I'm a metamorphic butterfly, and the butterfly's landed. Butterflies landed.
And I mean, what a testament to your recovery that you can look at that situation of somebody stealing all of
Yeah,
your gear and going, well, they've been in the same place that I've been, with somebody else that needed that next fix or
I had
needed
my
that
big
next
book in
drink.
there.
Like
They had my big
that's
book in
crazy.
there. They put my duffel bag literally with everything, my sound card, and it also had my big book in there. Had my inventory book. They had my inventory log, and
Wow.
I'm like, they're gonna look at it. I'm like, they don't give a shit, you know. But it's like, you know what? Maybe something in that bag could have gave him something. But yeah, it was. It's still hard. I still have to rewrite about it, but it's equipment. It's materialistic things. I still have this headphone. Look, I'm sitting in my like, you know what I've learned, dude, is this is take my own advice, but if you have something to say, someone's gonna listen. And I literally started with one person listening to me, and it blew up. And then I got ranked internationally, and all this stuff. And it's like, that's where I have to go back to my roots. Like, where are your feet planted? Sobriety, life. But I do everything with God's grace, and with that's why I can share this today is knowing to listen to the whisper.
Mm, mm. I like that, and that's just incredible. I don't know that I would be able to get to that mindset that
Yeah,
quickly. I'd be cussing and mad and man,
cried a little.
yeah, I would probably cry a little too. Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's wild. But yeah, like somebody said in the comments, it could be a blessing and it's part of God's plan. And
Amen.
maybe that big book in the bag, maybe they didn't just toss it out. Maybe they read it, or it's sitting on their dresser or in their car or
They
something,
were
and maybe
homeless, you know, like these were
yeah, or
people that were sick. Yeah, yeah, and that's it. Like I was even when I have the chills, and I listen to that and I say, that could have saved somebody. That could have just planted the seed. My bag
mm,
had about $2,000 worth of equipment sitting in there, and that's okay. But that person's life is priceless. So they had my book called, I don't know if anybody read this, but it's called I Declare by Joel Osteen, and it's like a 30-day declaration, and it's the first book that ever came into my path. When I was 21 years old, and I'm 24, and I started reading it, and it's declarations over your life. So I declare widespread blessings over my life today, and that was in there, and I only pray. I could think about run the tape through. Oh, I do catch some resentments, but whatever, it's already gone. I learned to live. I got around the cheap mic, but at the end of the day, you never know, that seed could down the line be like, wow, that happened to me. That's part of my story. I did rob that girl. I can't make amends to her, but I can go to a meeting. God does those things. So that was just God's working in his life.
that's incredible. And not that I have like the exact same story. I
Yeah.
mean, my car's been broken into who knows how many times. I
Yeah,
don't
so
even know.
many.
And I can't even, it's been so long now that I can't even remember like what was taken. But just like talking about like planting those seeds and stuff, like I can remember this was a couple years back. I was at a convention and I saw my old dealer at the convention, and it was like,
Wow.
what's happening, like and
Wow.
and she was like a totally different person. It was like, look at how God has touched her life and like transformed her into a whole new person. And like we stay in contact now. Like
Mm.
I added her on Facebook again, and like I feel like it was okay to like reach out and talk a little bit, but it was like, just look at like, it's incredible what can happen in recovery. And
Yeah.
you never know when you might be the only person that they see that's like carrying that message or that's that example of recovery. I was talking with Janine last night actually, and we were talking about, just how the way that we behave, the way that we act in public, like we could be the only living example of someone in recovery
Amen.
for somebody. So like you never know how our small actions could affect somebody else's life, and for me in the beginning of my recovery, it was seeing other people that were in recovery that not that I necessarily knew them, but seeing that they had been in similar situations and they had overcome those, and being like, okay, well, if they can do it, I can too. Like there's hope. There, it's one thing to read a book. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like I love recovery literature. I read recovery literature almost daily. uh, but in the beginning there was something totally different about like seeing a
Mm,
real life person that had like been through those struggles and then like seeing how they are now. Like, okay, I want what they have because I
yes.
can see I can see what their life is like now. Like I can see that their car just got broken into and they're just like, you know what? That's part of God's plan.
What am I
Like
gonna do, you know?
hopefully it blesses that person or
My will,
whatever.
yeah, my will wanted to take the shovel, and do that, and it
Yeah.
did. It did do that, but that's the thing is we have to go back is like there's a couple of things that I can say like what works for me this past
Mhm.
year is I needed to have a woman support group. I didn't have it. I resisted having women in my life. Grew up with all boys, and I needed a woman support group. And if you're a man, I have a man support group. I'm sure you could testify to that. I just started to get that this year, and I was able to be emotional and also say I don't want to be here, women. Like I don't want to talk to any of you. I need a new sponsor, and of course I got blessed with this beautiful woman. So that's what works for me. In the morning, I read page 86 to 88 in the morning, upon awakening, because when I start to run my life on my will, my terms, I'm the rabbit wheel starts spinning, whatever the craziness. So I do that. I try to call another alcoholic, but I do also do this new thing where I send out, I have like a spiritual sober women circle, and I get like, I send out the daily inspirational texts. You get it too.
Yeah.
I send it to people in recovery, this, because they always say, like, send that to people because you're not making it about you in the morning. And also, too, is I really have to look at where I'm setting my expectations, like, and my boundaries. Like, right? We always know it's going to be us when we get pissed, upset, angry. So when I set boundaries to really firmly look at like when they do get broken, I can't point the finger at other people, and that's really hard. But looking at that, because majority of the time I'm the person that's doing it. I'm the issue. I'm the one that's the self-centered person, and poor me, self-pity, dishonest. That could happen. But today, it's really important to work this program. You could be sober, you could do this, but be really, like it says today, like I was reading with my sponsor, it's like the only way to stay sober is to work with another alcoholic, another person that's an addict. That's the only way. If you just take from this program and you don't give back, then you're not gonna be able to remain sober. You're gonna be somebody that's going to go back out. Like how many people do you know that got their first year and went back out because they had to celebrate? Like really, I'm learning this year to indulge in, like, I just went to my first share-a-thon yesterday, and I'm learning to just really get involved, but also have a choice to be with people that I want to be with. I don't have to be friends with everybody. Like, what sobriety of friends now do I want to surround myself with? Instead of getting rid of the shitty people, I got rid of them. Now the good people, but what sobriety is in front of me that I'm surrounding myself by? Because the people that I have one day, yes, they're important, but I can't be hanging out with them every single day because then that's my mentality. I could be there to support, I could be there to call, but I can't save everybody this program. But I have to be able to look at like who you are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with.
Mhm.
The person that I'm with, she has about to celebrate 4 years of sobriety. So like she works a program. So that's very important is to look at who your sober circle is. Like you're part of my sober circle. We text them besides this, like if I ever need anything. So I think it's really important, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree, and just like you said, the 5 people you surround yourself with, like, that's kind of a cliche thing, but it's a cliche for a reason, and, another one that I always hear is, like, surround yourself with the winners, and,
Mm,
that doesn't necessarily mean people that have, like, all the material stuff, that have,
yeah.
like, the picture perfect life. Like, my current sponsor, I just got a new sponsor a few months back, and, I picked him because he exemplified character traits that I don't have, but I
Mm,
want to have those. I saw the way that he interacted with people at meetings. I saw the way that he acted when things in his life weren't going the way he wanted them to go. And he just had like this peace and calmness and like serenity to him. And it's like, I want what he has. So I'm gonna jump over here and see if I can get some of that. I'm gonna spend time with him. I'm gonna get to know him on a deeper level. And I felt like I'd kind of gotten in this like stagnant place. My life
mm,
it got busy. I have a baby, I have a new
yeah.
job, like life is crazy. And then, I saw my recovery kind of start to slip off. I wasn't making as many meetings. I wasn't reading my literature as much as I had in the past. And I felt myself kind of slipping. And my sponsor had moved to another state, and we tried the long distance thing, and I felt like it wasn't the same as like
Mm,
meeting face to face. And and it was kind of scary because it was like, man, I've been with this guy for like 3 or 4 years now. Like he's been my sponsor for a while. It feels it feels weird, to like change it up. It feels weird to
Yeah.
to start over because he knows a lot of stuff about me. Like I've been really vulnerable with him and he knows like my deep dark secrets, and
Yeah, yeah.
now I have to like start over and build a new relationship and like open up to somebody else and
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
them all those things that I never thought I'd tell anybody, but I've already told it. So like on one hand it was easier because like I've already told somebody some of my deep dark secrets and stuff, but at the same time it's like, man, I got to tell somebody else. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I don't like being vulnerable. I like
No, who
being in a
does?
place where I'm comfortable. Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody
does.
does. That's the scariest part, right? That's why so many people stop at the fourth step and they go back out
Yeah.
too. Is because they don't want to sit down and write their stuff. And who says I'm not saying it was easy. I put that shit off for 5 months, and I would write down things. I'm so excited to redo it again, But I think that we don't like to do things where we feel so like we never seen this before. This is like the scariest ride at the park. I don't want to go down it, but I know it's gonna help me. And being vulnerable, like somebody just wrote, yeah, being vulnerable, it's growth, and it's so
Mm.
true.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I also like his second the comment right before that where he said his sponsor overdosed of heroin, always a good idea to have two or more sober people in
Wow.
your life. Like you were talking about that circle, like I have there's 3 or 4 guys that are in my life that I know at any time I can reach out to them, and I stay in contact with them regularly. Most of them go to the same meetings that I go to, but I have a few people that I'm close with that live in other states or that don't go to my home group or whatever, but I have a small circle. Yeah, I'd say 5 guys that I know what's going on in their life. They know what's going on in my life, and there's people
Yeah.
call it like I feel like accountability might not be the right word, because that's kind of a churchy term, at least in my mind. But they're like we know what's going on in each other's life. Like we stay in contact and we're
They're
there for each
friends,
other.
dude.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
your
for sure.
friends. They're
Yeah,
your friends. You trust them. They're trusted, people. Like they say, I heard in a meeting the other day, like, because you have to always remind yourself, but you can't trust everybody. And not everybody needs to
yeah,
know your stuff. So that's really important that you said that because I don't know. I noticed that there's a lot more sober young people coming in, and they go into like those icky paws and those licky paw whatever types of groups, and all of them are great. I'm not gonna, but I think that like you have to check like, what are my motives. So because when I first started going to those things, it was too party like for me. Like when I first started, I think I had like 15 days, and I'm not saying, but now I have more time under my belt. Like I'm like, how can I be on like the service committee? How can I want to be around the old timers. I want to be around that, and
mhm,
that's just me. I'm an old soul. Like I feel that. But I also think that I'd rather be with like a grandma that has like 30 years and has what I want, or even just a person that has a year, or even 30 days that has a great mindset. So, we regain back our trust. And that's scary too in sobriety because it's hard to trust people and you learn who to trust. And this thing of life is beautiful, dude. And I'm so proud of you. You look so good. And congratulations with your kid.
thanks.
With your kid. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I hope that our talk really did inspire somebody today.
I hope so too. It's crazy how life changes, and like you said, now I have a daughter, which I never thought I'd have kids. Like life is just it's so crazy, and learning to trust people again, that's a whole nother thing because like I feel like I almost had like two extremes, especially in the beginning. It was like I didn't trust anybody, and then I came into recovery, and now I trust everybody, and then I get
Yeah.
hurt, and then I get hurt by people, and then I put my walls back up, and
Yes.
it's like finding that balance. And like you
Yeah.
said, like being vulnerable, like finding the right people to be vulnerable with. Like I don't tell everybody everything, like there's a right time and a right place for everything. And like finding that balance, finding that inner circle, finding, like you said, like I'll hang out with newcomers too, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna do the same things with newcomers that I do with old timers because
Yeah.
there's like this line. And I like to get to know somebody before they know like where I live or
Yeah.
like
It's any
certain things
stranger.
about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna give you my address at your first meeting. Like that's I'll give you my
Yeah.
phone number. I'll give you my
It's
phone number
true.
and we can call or text, but I'm not gonna like invite you to come sleep on my couch or something. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, but then when God wants us to do the service, like that's why I knew today. I was like, I have to show up because this is a service. It's like a service commitment, It's like
Yeah.
service. This is service day, and that's what I love like about what you do is you're talking about recovery and sobriety, and like that's why we talk about like meaningful tasks in our life. Like money doesn't buy happiness, honestly. That was my big thing. Like money was my high power for a while. Now it's just like I want peace and serenity. Like I don't want to double book myself. And
Yeah.
that's me before this. I was crazy going after a lot of things, and and it all worked out, but it wasn't the life. I'm still gonna do a lot of great things, which I'm still. But there's a different level we could play. We could play with peace and serenity, and I like that way better. I stopped smoking too. I stopped smoking like when I was in sobriety. I literally started smoking cigars. Don't get me. I have no idea. Stopped doing that. Stopped everything, and now I'm like, wow, like this. I've been going to the gym, back to the gym. I'm like, I want to do intramural sports. I'm like, this is like the kid. I feel like I'm 12 again, and I haven't felt like this. Like, I was doing the jewel in college and all this stuff. I never even smoked like that. So it's just crazy when you start your soul literally, it's like a reset button when you start to get some time under your belt. And we're not perfect. That's the gift is we're the most imperfect human beings. We just know like we're just trying to do the best we can.
Yeah, we're definitely not perfect. Like I admitted to everyone not that long ago, I ate almost a pound of gummy lifesavers like 2 days ago. So no, far from perfect. Far from perfect. Improving, getting better. Oh,
Yeah,
JR
for
said
sure.
JR is calling dibs on my couch.
Yeah,
Well,
he's gonna
I
slide in
know
your
I
jeans.
know you I know you, JR. So you're more than welcome to crash on my couch, man.
And he could change your daughter's diapers.
That's right. That's right.
That's a
Get some
fate.
practice in.
That's
Awesome.
funny.
Well, I know JR had mentioned earlier that we're going to be doing another giveaway on tonight's live stream. So we're going to be doing another copy of Victoria's Voice. So if you guys have not already won a copy of the book, I guess we'll go ahead and do that now,
Oh,
and then
nice.
we'll do a little. We'll open up and see if anybody has any questions for us. So we'll do the same as last time. Pick a number between 1 and 25, and whoever gets that correct will get a copy of Victoria's Voice. Oh, Jeff said he's ready.
Oh wow, you could see the comments. I didn't even know that on my end. It's hard to see.
Damn, Jeff got it on the first guess.
Oh,
Wow.
17?
17. How did
That's a let's
that's
go.
crazy, man. Normally it goes on for like several minutes of people like guessing and like
I-
guessing the numbers around it. That's nuts, man. First guess.
Let's go.
Jeff.
That's Jeff.
Right
I had to
on,
unplug
man.
my phone might die just so you know. Like no, like I just wanted you to know how to unplug my headphones so if it got a little farther.
Oh, you're good. I can still hear you. It sounds a little different, but I can definitely still hear you.
It works if you work it.
That's right. We gotta just roll with the punches because I'm sitting here looking at my camera and I have it plugged into the wall, and as the video goes on, like the percentage is
Dude, well,
going down. I'm like, how does that work? I'm
yeah.
plugged in. I don't know.
This is what
So
it's like, right? Perfect. Good. Congrats to
it's-
Jeff though. He's like, I'm a beast. That's right. He's a beast.
yeah, Jeff was actually the first guest on the live stream here. What was that, 5 or 6 weeks ago?
Oh
Right on,
wow.
Jeff.
It's rigged. No, I'm sorry.
It's not. I need to start writing it down so I can like hold it up and prove that I'm not like
Yeah.
picking a favorite or something. I I at
Yeah.
least wanted a couple more comments to come in.
Nah, he was
I
on
didn't
it. He
expect him
knew.
to get it on the first one. That was
I
nuts.
just want to thank my mom. I just want to thank my mom. He's funny. Oh, gotta walk over here. So I don't want my phone to die. So we're opening up for wait, what did they win? A book?
Yeah, they want a copy of Victoria's Voice. It's a recovery. I believe it's a memoir. I honestly I haven't read it myself. I know that JR has. Um,
Nice, nice, nice.
I've heard really great things about it, but I haven't gotten around to reading it. I have a copy of it. Do I have a copy of it? I don't know if I and I
You
have
just
so
keep
many
your
recovery books now. I
to
have like a whole bookshelf of recovery books and memoirs, and I think I have a copy of it. I don't know. Anyway, we can go ahead and open the floor up if anybody has any questions for either me or Leanne. uh, put them in the comments, and we will be more than happy to answer those.
This is fun.
Yeah, I love doing the live because you have like the interaction and people commenting, and
Yeah, I'm happy
it's
everybody's here.
it's
Whoever's
different.
watching.
Yeah, and it's different than doing a podcast and then like recording it and releasing it a couple weeks
Yeah,
later or whatever.
I think you're taking me back to my roots.
Well, we did try stereo. We did it that one time.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Trying
Yeah,
to
it
put
was
on
kind of weird.
the unfiltered truth of like actually like just being alive. I could go in my house, see my whole house. I love this family. Real, recognize real. Yeah, that's a fact. What do we got? Any questions?
Oh, Jeff said he already has a copy. So do we want? Should I pick another number?
That's Jeff's being honest. He's breaking the honest system. So
Yeah. Are you gonna take the second copy, Jeff, or are we gonna am I gonna pick another number and let somebody else try to win?
let's see what he
Is
said.
is yeah to taking the second copy, or is yeah to giving it away? JR gave me a copy.
This is so fun.
Oh, he said someone else for sure. Okay, so we'll do it again. Another uh we'll do let's see, we'll do 26 through 50 this time so that we don't have any kind of confusion. So a number between 26 and 50. Oh man, I don't have a pen over here. Otherwise, I'll type it on my phone screen or something. Or do you want to come? Or you could come up with a number, Leanne.
No, no, you do it. You do it. Because I don't want to lose you guys. You do it. Pick one.
Okay. I'm gonna just type a random number on my phone.
Yep.
Just do
Typing.
that. Okay. All right, they're going. JR, you trying to win your own book? Your own
I wish I could.
giveaway?
Wish I could. I want to see the comments. I wish on my end I could see it.
Oh, you can't see the comments on from your phone?
The only thing a couple of them come up on my end. It's because I'm on my phone. I have a laptop. Sorry, everything's kind of like that. You know,
Oh,
we're
gotcha.
I'm an alcoholic and life's unmanageable.
I totally hear you. I thought I was gonna have to host from my work truck driving home because I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it home in time. Like, what's gonna happen? And then like my brain starts going. I was like, I can get a piece of tape and put it over my company logo so I don't get in trouble and like all this craziness.
Oh my god. Yo, did anybody guess
So
his number
so
or what?
unmanageable. Oh, well, it looks like JR is the only one that's guessing at this point, and he's the one that's doing the giveaway. So I don't think he's gonna win his own giveaway. And Jeff stopped guessing because he already has a copy. Is
So
anybody
maybe
else gonna jump in on the giveaway? I guess we could do question and answer if anybody has anything for us, and then also if people want to keep guessing numbers, they can.
yeah, that sounds good.
I put the number in the notes section, so if anybody guesses it, I have proof that I'm not
Right.
playing favorites. Jeff said my wife will try. His and her
Oh,
copy of Victoria's Voice. Nice.
that's nice.
Do we have any questions? I want to know more about your
Anything?
strategies to growing social media stuff, but that might not
Yeah.
this might not be like the time and place for it, but I'm definitely interested.
Yeah.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. We got Jeff's wife Sarah guessing. JR says, Leanne, where are you from? Trying to place your accent.
That okay. If you guess, yeah. Wait, no. Guess. You get two guesses. You don't win anything except the hug, but you can guess. Okay. Well, fun fact is I'm dropping a new clothing line, so you guys are the first ones to know that.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
it is a sober. It is a sober clothing line.
JR's first guess is Boston.
I always get that one. All right, one more. Yeah, get one more. Come on, you got it. Coffee.
And then Jeff said, what in all caps? I'm assuming that's to the sober clothing line. And then he
Yeah.
said, "I love clothes" in all caps.
Don't worry.
Re-
Follow me on Instagram at Beautiful Mind. But okay, I'm from New York, Long Island.
Oh, Jeff said Bronx,
Close. I'm in Suffolk County, Long Island.
and JR's second guess was Philly. Roberto
Philly.
said Roberto said Jersey.
Close. See, yeah, they're all like Italian. Yeah, from Long Island.
Nice. So what's the thought process behind the clothing line? Let's hear. Obviously, you haven't launched it yet, but
Yeah, so I'm going to a convention. I don't know if anybody that's watching us knows about it, but it's in Binghamton. It's in November 17th. New York is the yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much like I noticed that like when I go on Amazon and there's not many like so it all started with this with the inventory. You know how when you do the inventory in the books and
mhm.
like it's always just a mess. I started to think like how can I make my life easier? So I started designing a journal for that. But really the clothing line is just like I know that there's with the legal side of things is you can't use the sign. There's certain ways that you can use the logo. But it's just really just to empower like the sayings, the slogans, and bring positivity. It all goes back to my roots, like positivity, purpose, but more sober sayings that are uplifting. So I think like we always need a representation of who we are, and just bringing sobriety on our clothes is a way positive way of just expressing ourselves. Like I'm wearing sober socks right now. I got for my 1 year. And I was like, it makes me happy, you know? So I've been talking to friends about it and they're like, you gotta do it. Cause I owned a clothing line before this called Crazy Cuts Customs. I've always been good with it, but I gotta stay on one thing at a time. But the sober thing is really great because I go to the convention and all the kids already want it. They're like, let me know when you're dropping it. So by November 17th, it should be 100% done.
Nice. Well, it looks like JR kind of has the same thought process as me. He's the one that started this Facebook page, and he said how to grow our social media. He said struggling with
Oh yeah.
Twitter, not a big fan of tweeting. LOL.
Yeah, this is his sober recovery
Yeah,
revolution.
yeah.
Oh
Recovery
wow.
Revolutions.
Yeah, we should
Yep.
talk definitely off of this. That's definitely what I do. That's what I've been studying for all this time for 6 months. That's what I'm writing my book. It's actually called The Rising Influencer Social Media. So it's all about rising influence. So really how to do it. It's all about strategy, right? So when we go to a game, football, there's strategy, strategy, strategy. So the only reason why I talk about this is because when I started my podcast, I made 90 episodes. I had $0 to monetize. So if you guys, it depends what you're right. So what's your mission? What's your purpose? Like, how do you want to take this to the next level? You already have a lot of people already watching this. So it would be like, what angle do I want to reach? So that's when I started Omni Content Media, which is my media company, right? How can I be omnipresent in all places in one spot? So that's you guys, right? You guys are sitting here, you're on live, you're videoing, then you're gonna make it into a podcast, then you're making it into chunkable pieces, right? But the thing is this is the golden nugget that I haven't shared in front of anybody. It's cutting your content into multiple perspectives. So instead of pieces, it's perspectives. So my biggest idol is Gary Vee. I study him, and that's how I know everything like that is because I've been studying him for all this time of how he does his content. So what I'm saying is this is multiple pieces of content, but different perspectives. Is when we're looking at this, right, of us shooting this. How can I turn one piece of content into 44 pieces that look different? Right. So I can turn this, right? Maybe I said something on this podcast like Brett does, but I'm dropping gems. This is way too much, but you guys are the first ones to know, which you might know some of this. So different perspectives, right? So Brett pulled a quote from me directly a while, not that long ago, of me stating something great on his podcast, right? So I used that as an Instagram post.
Hmm.
Boom, right? Then I took that and I made it somewhere else. I used that piece of content somewhere else. So I used that on LinkedIn, say. But you want to take, say, this, what are we up to? 53 minutes. 53 minutes, right? So they're called content pillars. So right here, what we're doing is you're just creating content from different perspectives. So how can you showcase whatever you just created and chunk it down into multiple pieces, turn one piece into say 40 pieces of content. So you're cutting your time in half of creation time. You're growing your audience and you're showing them, you're showcasing your work from a different perspective. So what you put out on Facebook isn't going to be the same that you put on Twitter. What you put on Twitter is not going to be the same that you put on YouTube. What you put on YouTube is not going to be the same you put on Apple. That's the thing. People try to put the same content in two same places, and that's why it doesn't grow. But how you grow is just by showcasing two different avenues and perspectives of your content. I just gave you like the $1 million, that little content, little hack. So I hope that helped.
That's awesome. And I fall into that category of I create multiple pieces from an episode and then I post the same thing to all my platforms.
No, that's right, because most people don't. So like what
Yeah.
that's right. That's actually a great question. Even though we're talking about a sobriety thing, like that's what a lot of people miss. So if you guys want to talk, like we can book and we could talk and I could definitely help you guys out just from service. Because I think it's really important. A lot of people need to, and I also think partnerships. So like here we are, like right, I talked about so marketing, right, is key. So like I just said sobriety, you guys are doing your giveaways. So like for me, we should be talking off of this about connecting with clothing, like how can you make money too off of it. How that's how can you give me something and I give you something and we both are happy.
Hmm.
That's how you do it.
Nice.
I'm writing the book about it, so you guys will know
Jeff
more about it.
Jeff said industry secrets.
Yeah, for sure. On this, that was a good question.
Yeah, that was. Do we have any other questions? We still haven't had a winner for the giveaway. It looks like JR started guessing again for his own giveaway.
Let me guess.
Yeah, go for it.
What is it?
Number between 26 and 50.
I want to say 43.
You're close.
Yeah, that's 47.
Ooh, you're real close.
I felt it in my gut. I felt it. Dang, I can't already guess twice. Dang, I'm pissed.
Guess again.
All right, 46.
Oh, it's not gonna focus. I'm on
Did
manual
I get it?
focus. Yeah, 46.
Let's go. I'm excited. Whose book am I reading?
JR, who's the author of Victoria's Voice?
Victoria.
No, it's I believe Victoria was her daughter's name.
I'm excited.
Hold on.
I'm
I
excited.
should probably know more about the book.
It's okay.
But I want to be honest with everybody and let you know that I haven't read it and that I don't know who the author is, but I will in just a second. Yeah, Victoria's Voice. David A. Siegel and Jackie Siegel are the authors, and it's called Victoria's Voice: Our Daughter's Dying Wish to
Oh,
Share Her Diary and Save Lives.
it's funny you say that because there's no coincidences. I was at the library and I just came across a woman's diary that she before she died. So that's common. I'm excited to read it. How do I get it?
Send the Recovery Revolution page message after the show,
Oh,
and JR will
whoop whoop.
get that taken care of. Oh yeah, now JR just said in the comments exactly what I just looked up. David and Jackie and her diary. Yeah,
I'm
very
excited. Yeah,
cool.
thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. Do we have any other questions? If not, I guess we can wrap it up. I can't believe we haven't had a single question from Ian. Maybe he jumped off because Ian is always really good about asking questions from
That's
the
okay. You know what?
guests.
People that are gonna want because people that are gonna listen, they're gonna keep coming back. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think Ian's missed a single episode, and I haven't seen a comment from him in several minutes, so I assume that he probably
yeah,
hopped off. Hmm. That's that's odd. I know Jeff just hopped off because he said he has dinner and then school. Right on, Jeff.
yeah,
Going back to school. Another miracle, another benefit of recovery,
for
continued
sure.
education. I know a lot of people that have gotten clean, gotten sober, and then gone back to school and pursued their dreams. So that's awesome. He JR's given more details of the authors of the book. He said they are owners of the Westgate Casino in Las Vegas. They are opening a sober bar in the hotel. They're big
Wow,
supporters of Narcan being everywhere and are doing some amazing things. That is really cool.
I'd love to connect with you guys after.
This
Give
is
me a minute
really cool.
with Jr. too. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that, Jr.
that's awesome. Wow. Good stuff. I had no idea.
I love
And
mocktails.
I feel like that's another beautiful thing about recovery, and it's also probably kind of cliche, and but it was like one of the things that my dad always said growing up is, he said that we're presented with an opportunity to learn something new every day, and that's I feel like that's even more applicable now that I'm in recovery because I actually want to learn new things and like connect with people, and that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that, JR.
Yeah. So when will this be available on the podcast?
I'll have it up later this evening.
Cool.
Usually it's up about 10 o'clock. So that'd be what, 11 o'clock your time?
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock my time now.
Yeah, so that'd be about 11 o'clock your time. So yeah, I'm terrible with time zones.
So with you. All
JR.
right, JR, it was nice meeting you. Yeah, give me a shout too. I would love to talk with you guys about, contributing to whatever you guys are doing and be like of service.
Awesome. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap things up. Guys, tune in again every Monday. We have a live guest. We do this live on Facebook, Recovery Revolution Live. The audio version of the podcast will be up in about the next 2 hours or so. So if you aren't able to sit in front of your computer or phone and watch the video, you can pop in some headphones or listen while you drive. That's available wherever you get podcasts. That's Recovery Revolution Live is the name of that one. I also have another podcast called Recovery Survey that comes out every Wednesday. They're usually about 30-minute episodes with different guests. So please be sure to check that out as well. We also recently added a podcast tab on the Facebook page. So if you're having trouble finding either of those podcasts, click on that tab and you can listen directly on Facebook. I still haven't come up with a sign off. I think we discussed that last week where I just kind of like abruptly ended because I don't have a good sign off yet, but I'm sure one day I'll come up with one. But until next time, guys, I'm Brett. I've been your host. Thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast. And in the broadcast.